Hi, this is David Williams. I'm here with Stephen Dunn. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, David. Thanks for having me. Really like what you're doing with this podcast.
Well, I appreciate you reaching out to me on LinkedIn. We've known each other for years, and in just a moment, we're going to talk about some of your business growth and some of the things you've done because I've really seen you grow. So we'll dive into that in just a moment. But briefly, just tell me a little about who you are and what you do. And then at the very end, you can mention your website, social media, and all that stuff. So brief intro, and then we'll dive in.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Stephen Dunn. I'm the owner of Graphix Solution and GSX Wraps here in Apex, North Carolina. And what we do is we specialize in helping individuals, corporations, small businesses really define their brand with signage, print, environmental graphics. Started Graphix Solution in 2014 and have really, it's been remarkable, David, to be honest with you. I never anticipated, never imagined that we would grow to the size we are now, but we just hired our 10th employee. So 5 plus years in, we're at 10 employees and just very fortunate. I've surrounded myself with some really amazing people that make me look a lot better than I am. And let's be honest, David, I need all the help I can get. So, but no, we're really excited where we're at. We just relocated into a bigger office space, more production room for our guys to kind of stretch their legs. And then this COVID-19 stuff hit. And to be honest with you, David, we've slowed down a little bit, but for the majority of the time, we've stayed busy. We haven't had to lay anybody off. We haven't had to furlough anybody. We've got great partners and great people that support us that have allowed us to continue working as business as usual, as normal as it can be in these circumstances.
Well, that's some good information, and you shared some stuff in there about the 10 employees and when you started that I want to dive into, because you and I met several years ago, and obviously, like a lot of businesses, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were a one-guy shop when you originally started, and it's not like, okay, I'm hiring my first employee and it's me and one employee. If I'm not mistaken, it was just you, correct?
Yeah, it was. So I've been in the sign industry for over 13 years at the time, and had always had the dream of being an entrepreneur and doing my own thing. And finally, in the summer of 2014, really started to build the foundation of that. And, you know, David, you and I met through BNI years ago, and you know, Steve Hand has done a phenomenal job growing the BNI brand here in the Triangle. And if it weren't for BNI, I don't know where I'd be today, because it gave you all of the important pieces to start a business. My CPA, who is still my CPA, Joel Levy, I met through BNI. My business attorney, Donna Berkelhammer, I met through BNI. My banker was through BNI. So you have all these pieces that make it really easy. And when they know, like, and trust you and they support you, it makes it really easy. Don't get me wrong, it was scared to death to jump out and do it on my own. And I did it on my own, kind of the one-man band, like you mentioned, for a little over 18 months before I hired my first employee. So, but, you know, from that, what we do is so visual. And once we get opportunities to show what we can do, it kind of snowballs. And that's a word that I use in our office all the time, is opportunity. Opportunity is always out there for us to continue growing, for us to continue to get more business, to build stronger relationships. And so that's really where it started, you know, and it kind of snowballed. And like you said, we've gone from the one-man band in October of 2014. We just brought on our newest sales rep 2 weeks ago. And I met her through BNI. So there's a lot of connections that go back to that BNI family, for sure.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I know a lot of people listening to this, you know, have probably had different experiences with just networking in general, whether it's BNI or whether it's just any kind of face-to-face networking. And I remember when you and I met years ago at BNI, and I'm not currently part of a BNI group, but I have a lot of respect for Steve Hand and the BNI organization. And I have made relationships through BNI networking and other networking as well. And the interesting thing, you know, what you and I have done is stayed in touch primarily through LinkedIn. And that's where you kind of saw what I had going on. You reached out to me there. And what's interesting, you said you just hired your 10th employee 2 weeks ago. Well, thanks to LinkedIn and social networking, right? You made that announcement and I saw that. And that's just one of the ways that I've kept in touch with you over the years of like, man, his business just keeps growing. And honestly, until you shared it, I didn't realize that was your 10th employee. I knew that you had grown. So let's talk about, so that it can help other, whether it's solopreneurs or somebody with employees, some of your thoughts on experiencing what that growth looks like, and some of the growing pains maybe that's come with it, some of the good and the not so good, and what are some of your takeaways in this, well, it's been a relatively short period, but in these last 5+ years, what has that kind of felt like, and what can you share for others out there that could be some good takeaway advice?
Well, again, as I mentioned in my earlier, you try to surround yourself with great people that really make you look better than you are. And I've been so fortunate to do such. My first employee, Amy Kist, who is our Vice President, Director of Project Management and Design Services, she took a chance on me. Her and her husband, Ron, both took a really big chance and leap of faith to, hey, this guy's doing all this on his own. But having Amy come on board really was a monumental move for us. And as we continued to grow, we got an opportunity to work partnership with the Food Bank of Central and East North Carolina. We basically rebranded their entire new facility on Capitol Boulevard. And that particular job really kind of snowballed for us. And it gave us a lot of interest. People were reaching out to me. Hey, I want to be part of this. I want to, hey, if you're ever looking for somebody in this. And so that was really kind of weird for me to have people really reach out. But we've been very selective. We want to make sure that the individuals that are part of our team here at Graphix Solution, we have a very family mentality. And we all genuinely care about one another and how we're doing, not just 9 to 5. We do a lot of things extracurricular. We do some team building stuff. Our office manager has put together an amazing program in the last 6 weeks, basically to team build and to help us understand who we're working with and who we're in the trenches with. But growth it's an exciting thing, David, but it's obviously scary too, the more you take on. And I'm sitting here at the time when the whole COVID-19 stuff started, I'm sitting here at 9 employees wondering how I'm going to make payroll and what's going to happen. And my entire team, from my sales reps to my operations people to my installers, we all just dug in. And again, the word I bring up is opportunity. We took the opportunity to be available for all of our clients in a very uncertain time. And that's what's allowed us to continue to stay busy and to continue to do that. But growth it's really cool. One thing that I'm really proud of in regards to how we've grown our team here at Graphix Solution is I went to school at Chowan University in Murfreesboro, North Carolina, which at the time when I was in school, and the graphics program is still very reputable. When I was in school back in the late 90s, early 2000s, we were one of the top 3 programs in the Southeast. We were mentioned in the same breaths as a Clemson and Appalachian State. And what I wanted to do as an entrepreneur and as a small business owner is try to give back. And in giving back, I've actually hired 3 graduates from Chowan University in the last 18 months, and 2 out of the graphics program, and then another gentleman that came on board with us in January. But again, it's like you said, that whole social media, LinkedIn and Facebook and all that, people just want to be part of it. And it's really cool. It's weird to me to think that people really just, but we've been able to grow in a way where we're giving back to giving young professionals right out of school the opportunity to be part of something from the ground level, the foundation. We've got, in our 10 employees, we've got 75 plus years of experience in the industry, whether that's print, signage, general contracting. So we really focus on that and pull from that experience to make our team well-rounded, to offer our clients the best that we can be, obviously.
It's been really interesting to see your growth over the years, and to have you share this story with me, because some people may think, well, I don't want to go down that route of having employees. I know what that's like. There, as you know, there are good, there's some good things and there's not so good things, and growing pains can help you learn through experience, right? But you said something key in there, that we're selective. You're a family-oriented company, and that you're selective. So I think, what I hear you saying there is it's really about who you hire, and surrounding yourself with the people that buy into what I would call culture, right? Because the big companies have their corporate culture, but you are a small company, as well as we're small also, but there's still a culture, there's still something that you create there. And it sounds like that's one of the ways that you've been able to create what you've done with Graphix Solution. It's interesting that you're on the signage side, and the person that I had on the program earlier, that before you, was on the digital agency side. But as you know, it takes both pieces. You've still got the signage, which you guys do, you got the digital marketing agency, and so it all kind of comes together to work. And thanks to your social media, I've been able to see a lot of the stuff that you've been doing, and a lot of the things that you have going on. So what's your kind of vision of the future? Share a little bit about that. I don't know, obviously you didn't start out to be where you're at today. I mean, it's kind of been unexpected, but it's also been a blessing. What are you seeing down the road, and how do you envision getting to where you want to be down the road?
Well, that's the $100,000 question, David. It depends on what day you asked me that question. I did want to touch on one thing. I wanted to go back and how we built our culture, just real quick. Like I said, the family-oriented thing is very important to me. So when we go through the process of potentially bringing somebody on our team, it's not just me interviewing that individual. That individual actually will interview with up to 4 people on our team. And I get the consensus from everybody to make sure that that person's going to be a good fit for our organization. And if anybody has any reservations, we'll go find somebody else, because there's, and I think that's one of the reasons that we've been successful in getting good people, because I think when you can put more than one set of eyes and one set of ears on somebody in an interview process, people have a tendency to pick up on different things. And that's one of the reasons that I think we've been successful. Amy's been instrumental in the interview process with several. Robbie's been instrumental. My office manager has been involved in the last 2. So just having that, I think, and I wanted to touch on that because I don't want to make it sound like I've handpicked all of these.
Right. Well, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important.
That's awesome.
It's important. But yeah, I mean, as far as the future, we've just relocated into about 35% more square footage than where we were sitting last year at this time. And we're centrally located in Apex, which is actually really convenient for all of our clients. But as far as the future, we obviously have goals that we want to continue to grow, but we want to grow in a healthy way. We don't want to grow too fast. And so being scalable is important for us to understand where we want to go. I think one of the biggest things that I am extremely cautious of is I want to make sure that we're doing the best work we can do. And when saying that, you would be amazed how many people reach out to us and ask us if we do websites. We don't do websites. We don't try to do websites. And I know that there's some folks in our industry, they'll take anything. Oh yeah, we can do that. We can do that. We can do that. We want to focus on what we're really good at and maximize what we can do in those arenas. So that comes with the environmental graphics, the interior and exterior signage that we do, the large format printing that we do with GSX wraps. We do fleet vehicles. We do a lot of motorsports as well. So just concentrating where we're really good at and being, just like, with your business, you're really good at photography. There are people that they want to do photography and videography, and they want to do websites, and they want to do this, and then it just dilutes the product. So I think that's, as far as our growth, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we stay honed in on what we're good at and try to be as profitable and as successful staying in our sandbox, so to speak. What that looks like, I don't know. I think a lot of it depends on, before the COVID-19, there's a big boom. There's building, right down the road in Holly Springs here. There's stuff going up left and right as far as retail, commercial space. Those are great opportunities for us. When folks rebrand, those are great opportunities for us. And as long as we can continue to have those opportunities, I think we can be as successful as we want to. I've got 2 really young sales reps that are really hungry to make a lot of money. If they're doing what they need to be doing, then yeah, we can grow. We can be can we double in size as far as profitability in the next 2 years? Absolutely, no problem. We're scaled right now that, with where we're staffed at, we can be more profitable with the same amount of people. And I think ultimately as a small business, that's what you look for. You look for
yeah. It's not about having 20 people. Yeah. If you got 20 people and you're not profitable, it's better to have 10 and have happy people and be profitable. So I understand how business works. One of the things that I want to share with you, and I appreciate you sharing all that information, but one of the things I want you to share, I should say, and I'll ping you on this since I'm aware of it, give you an opportunity to talk about something that's dear to your heart, which is the golf tournament, right? And what your wife, I believe your wife was behind starting the bladder cancer stuff, and not sure, I didn't even ask you ahead of time, hey, are you still involved in this? What's going on? But I know that was something that was dear to your heart that, you were able to do. So what I'd like to do before I, at the end, give you an opportunity to share your website and things of that nature, tell me a little bit about that and what's going on there, because when you said give back earlier, that clicked in my mind.
And first and foremost, thank you for helping us in the first 3 years with the photography aspect of that. We started Tee Up for Beacon. When I started Graphix Solution, one of the things that I wanted to do as a small business owner was give back to the community. Most people know my wife is a nurse practitioner at the University of North Carolina, where she specializes in urology. And one of the biggest, as far as cancers that she sees on a regular basis, is bladder cancer. And bladder cancer is one of those cancers that a lot of people don't know about. And it's not a breast cancer, a prostate cancer, all these things that you see promoted time and time and time again. Bladder cancer is one of the top 5 diagnosed cancers annually in the country, yet the funding is in the mid-20s. And basically what we wanted to do is I wanted to, put forth some effort to try to close the gap and try to raise some additional funding for research and community use that the chapter here in North Carolina could utilize. And, we started over at Hillendale in 2014 or 2015. We started over at Hillendale. Donna and Carl Kimball were gracious hosts for our first 2 years. And then the last 3 years, we've had it at the Governor's Club in Chapel Hill. Thomas Brinson and his folks over there have been nothing but great for us. But David, in that, we're still on the fence what we do for 2020. Obviously, there's still a lot in the air and a lot of uncertainty. Ultimately, we want to have an event in September, and it's scheduled for September as of now. as we get a little bit closer, we'll figure that out. But in the first 5 years that we've had this event, we've raised over $50,000, and that money goes directly to the North Carolina chapter here in the Triangle, and that money goes towards research over at UNC. It goes towards helping some of these patients' families stay overnight when they have to stay overnight at the SACU house in Chapel Hill, and it's just raising awareness. And the crazy thing is, David, one of my good friends that I played softball with for years and played golf with for years, and still a good friend, I never knew that his dad was a bladder cancer survivor until we had hosted this tournament. And I think that's the thing that was most eye-opening to me, is once you start asking the question and raising awareness, you're amazed how many people bladder cancer actually touches. So it's very near and dear to our heart here at Graphix Solution. It's a big deal for us. We've had great support in our first 5 years, and as we kind of get towards what 2020 may look like, if we don't have one in 2020 because of the current environment, so be it. But it's definitely something that will continue to go past 2020. So if we don't have a 2020 event, we'll definitely have a 2021. But yeah, I appreciate you asking. That's something that's very important to my wife and I, and for our organization here at Graphix Solution.
And I think it's great. I think every company, whether they're small like you and I are, or larger, to be able to have opportunities to give back. One of the organizations that we've given back to for years now is Ronald McDonald House. And so that's been great to be a part of that, and to provide photography for them as just a way of giving back. And those stories, hearing those stories and seeing what happens, and just like what you shared, I think we all have different things. And I think it's good that you've got something that's near and dear to your heart that you don't hear a lot about, because honestly, we do hear so much about other types of cancer. So I think it's great that you and your team are able to give back in that area. And what I want to do now is transition into closing it out and give you an opportunity to mention your website, how people can find you on the web, how people might be able to find you on LinkedIn and other social media. And then we'll just wrap it up with a goodbye after you do that.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you so much for the opportunity to come on and chat with you. It's always good to catch up with you. In regards to how you can find us on social media, I got to give kudos to David Cross, who is one of our newer employees. He's the one that's really kind of boosted that social media with the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Our website's www.graphixsolutionnc.com, and then you can find us at Graphix Solution on all of your social media outlets. We're located in Apex. Again, we love the opportunity to help whoever we can. You've probably seen on our social media the last few days, Maynard Heating and Air they have gone through a huge growth period, and we've done a tremendous amount of work for those guys. So anything from exterior building signage to interior signage to vehicle graphics, those are all things that are in our wheelhouse, so to speak, and would love the opportunity to chat with anybody that may be in search of some of those things to kind of define their brand.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And I didn't know who did your social media, but I see you guys quite a bit, mainly on Instagram and LinkedIn, where I spend a lot of time. I'm on Twitter some as well, but I see a lot of your stuff on Instagram and LinkedIn. I did go out to your website prior to this call. I'm going to drop the URL down in the description of the YouTube video as well as the podcast. And then people that want to check it out can obviously see some of the stuff that you guys are up to with some of the signs that you have pictures of. But I want to thank you, Stephen, for joining me today, and I wish you continued success.
Absolutely, David. Thank you so much. Good luck to you. Stay safe out there, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.